Hello friends, I am Dr. R.B. Solanki, Vasantrao Naik, Art Science and Commerce College, Shahada. We are studying colligative property for the second year students of BSc. The course number is CH301. The name of course is Physical and Inorganic Chemistry. So this is the sixth lecture. In this, we have to study Berkeley and Hartley method for the measurement of osmotic pressure. So we have already discussed about the osmosis and osmotic pressure. So now we have to determine how to determine the osmotic pressure. So here Berkeley and Hartley invented this method. So in this method there is the diagram. In this diagram there are three compartments. This is for solution. In middle there is solvent A. Here there are two capillaries E and D, and here is the pressure gauge piston to measure the osmotic pressure. Now we have to study about how the osmotic pressure is measured by this Berkeley and Hartley method. So the Berkeley and Hartley apparatus consists of porous tube A. This is the tube A which is porous here, which are made up of copper ferrocyanide. It is the chemical semi-permeable membrane coated with the copper ferrocyanide. So these layers are acting as semi-permeable membrane. The tube is provided with the capillary E here and the capillary D, which is known as reservoir, surrounded by the outer jacket B. These are the two outer jackets B, having the attachment C through the pressure can be applied and recorded. So this is the pressure gauge is here. Here is piston for the applying pressure. This is the pressure gauge to measure the osmotic pressure. The tube A is filled with solvent water up to definite mark. So this is filled with solvent A, that is water, up to the definite marks on the capillary E. Now osmotic pressure of water we have to determine. The apparatus is then immersed in the thermostat to maintain the temperature constant. Due to osmosis, the solvent flows through the membrane through the tube B. So this solvent flows towards the solution through the tube B and osmosis is carried out. As a result of this, the initial level on capillary tube E drops down. Here this level drops down. Now the external pressure is applied so that initial pressure of capillary to be restored. So now here when the osmosis takes place, the solvent flows through the semi-permeable membrane to the solution and this level of piston moves up. Now we have to restore this. To stop the osmosis, we have to apply here the osmotic pressure to make the level as it is. So when we apply the pressure here, the restored, it means that this pressure which stops the osmosis and it recorded as osmotic pressure. So the pressure which applied to stop the osmosis is known as osmotic pressure. So this is the pressure. In this way we can record the osmotic pressure. Now for this method there are three advantages. First is, in this method equilibrium established rapidly. This is the very important. Equilibrium established very rapidly. Second, concentration of solution not changed by dilution of solvent. Here concentration does not change. Third is, the sample solution not get contaminated. So these are the main advantages. So due to these advantages, this method is very important, and in this way by Berkeley and Hartley's method we can determine the osmotic pressure of the solution. Friends, after studying the Berkeley and Hartley's method to determine the osmotic pressure, now we have to obtain the relation between osmotic pressure and vapor pressure. So now we have to obtain the relation here. On the basis of thermodynamics, the relationship of osmotic pressure and osmosis is obtained as follows. Let G10 be the molar free energy of pure solvent and G1 bar is the molar free energy of solution. Since osmosis is spontaneous process, it is always accompanied by decrease in free energy. So all the natural processes are accompanied by the decrease in energies. Now G1 bar minus G10 bar is equal to delta G minus delta G. That is the decrease in free energy. Negative sign indicates decrease in free energy. The partial molar free energy is given by this equation. G1 bar is equal to G10 plus RT ln A1, where A1 is the activity, R is gas constant and T is the absolute temperature. Therefore, G1 bar minus G10 is equal to RT ln of A1. So, G10 take this side, we get this equation. So, G1 bar minus G10 is equal to RT ln P1 upon P10, where P1 is the vapor pressure of that solution, P10 is the vapor pressure of solvent. Now we know that A1 is equal to P1 upon P10. So now putting this value in this equation number 2, we will get minus delta G is equal to RT ln of P1 upon P10. So from equation 1 and 2 we get this equation. Now delta G is equal to RT ln of P10 upon P1. Here the negative sign, we have changing negative sign by changing this ln quantity. So delta G is equal to RT ln, instead of P1 upon P10, right here P10 upon P1. So we will get the positive sign here. Partial molar free energy in terms of molar volume V1 bar can be given as delta G1 bar is equal to V1 bar dP. Call it equation number 4. Now integrating this equation number 4 between proper limits. That is the for G1 bar we have G1 bar to G1 bar dash, and for pressure P, that is 1 to P for pressure. So in this way integrating equation number 4. So now this is in integral form we can write here the integral dg1 bar G1 bar to G1 dash bar is equal to integral P1 bar 1 to P dP. That is dg1 bar, here the integral of dg1 bar is equal to G1 bar and integral of V1 bar dP, that is equal to V1 is constant. So taking outside of this integral, and now dP has the integral dP has the value P. So these are the limits 1 to P V1 bar. This is equation number 5. Then now applying the limits here. We are applying the limit. Now friends, by applying limit we have G1 bar dash bar minus G1 bar, that is equal to V1 bar P minus 1. So applying limit P for P upper limit minus lower limit. Here applying limits by upper limit minus lower limit. So we have the relation G1 dash bar minus G1 bar is equal to V1 bar into bracket P minus 1, where P minus 1 is the pressure applied to stop the osmosis. It is also known as osmotic pressure. So P minus 1 is equal to pi, that is the osmotic pressure, and G1 dash bar minus G1 bar, that is equal to delta G. So right here this value, it is the osmotic pressure, and this value becomes delta G is equal to V1 bar into pi. So here this minus this, that is becomes delta G, and P minus 1 becomes pi. So from equation 3 and 6. Now from equation 3 and 6 we have the relation. Equation 3 is delta G is equal to RT ln of P1 0 upon P1, and second is equation number 6 we obtained here. It is given as this equation here. So comparing the equation 3 and 6 we get RT ln of P1 0 upon P1 is equal to V1 into pi, equation number 7. Now we have to calculate pi, so take pi here and we have the relation 2.303 RT upon V1 log of P1 0 upon P1. So instead of ln we can write here log to the base 10. By changing the base we have to multiply here by 2.303 here, this for the equation. So here for very dilute solution V1 bar must be equal to the V1 0. V1 0 is the molar volume of pure solvent and V1 bar is the molar volume of solution. So for dilute solution these are both equal. So this equation becomes pi is equal to 2.303 RT upon V1 0 log of P1 0 upon P1, equation number 8, or RT upon V1 0 ln of P1 0 upon P1, equation number 9. So by changing the base, this equation number 8, by not changing the base in terms of ln, this equation is 9. So equation 8 and 9 are used to calculate the osmotic pressure of the solution if the vapor pressure of solution and T, that is the absolute temperature, is known. So in this way we have obtained the relation of osmotic pressure to the vapor pressure.